or 10. Group calls are really just for you guys to like meet each other and answer different questions. So obviously when you RSVP on that page, you can submit up to 3 questions. It's all anonymous. I don't blow up your spot. We can talk about personal stuff, we can talk about business stuff, but I want to hear from each of you guys. If there's a question that I read that pertains to you guys, I may kick it to you. You don't have to answer. You can just say pass or hey, no comment, whatever. You can join for the whole hour. You can join for 10 minutes. Sometimes we have 10 people. Sometimes there's like 1 or 2 people. Most of the time it's between, what would you say, Christina? About 5 and 10 on average, probably, give or take. But yeah, hop in, hop out anytime. But you can always submit questions anonymously, especially if it's pertaining to you. But feel free to give your 2 cents, jump in for whatever you want. It's not really me just answering all this stuff, but I will read them and kick it to you guys. So I want you guys to connect, share your socials. I will post a group calls, like if it's a good group call and very productive and people are learning a lot, I'll post that to YouTube. If you say something or something slips out and you don't want it to go out on the internet, just send me a message. I will always just post it the next day. So if you change your mind, just sleep on it and you're like, hey, actually, I don't want that going up, or it did go up and you want it taken down, just let me know. Not a problem. But I think it's really good content for other people to learn because I'll put that in the Discord and then you guys have all of this stuff. Okay. So with that being said, right, it's just a couple of us here tonight. Why don't we go down the line from the people that I see? Leslie, Christina, Claire, Ronnie. I want you guys to introduce yourself, where you're from, what you got going on, anything else that you feel is relevant. So, Leslie, go for it.
Hey everyone, I'm Leslie. I'm a women's health and fitness coach and just working on growing my business. And I live in North Carolina.
Nice. Christina, I don't know if you're working or driving or anything. Go for it, Christina. Oh, I don't know. Maybe microphone issues. Claire, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name's Claire. I live in Bozeman, Montana. Leslie, I also am kind of in the health and fitness space. I used to own a bunch of boutique fitness studios on the East Coast, couple in North Carolina. So I'd love to connect with you on that. I work helping 4 nonprofit businesses seek funding through grant funding and federal contracts, but I'm obviously, I think, an entrepreneur at heart, and I'm opening, you're gonna think I'm crazy, a pizza trailer business. So yeah, nice to meet you guys.
It's awesome. Ronnie, what you got, man?
Hey, everybody. So first group call and first week in the program with Cam. So I'm Ronnie. I'm based in San Francisco in the Bay Area, and really reached out to Cam to going through, I guess, middle age things that we all experience. So separation, divorce, kind of fork in the road. Want to put some boundaries on relationships and kind of rewire myself to, like, really give myself some grace in certain areas of life. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I head up comms for an advertising agency based in New York.
Nice. Digitas, right? Would you say?
Formally,
Form.
different company now. Yeah, I was with them for like 10 years. Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
right.
yeah, almost.
Christina, did you get your mic working? No, I don't know what's going on. Send us a message or just introduce yourself. Christina's always here, so she's awesome. Anyway, point of the group calls, right? Anytime that you guys just want to get a little bit extra, submit stuff and just connect with people. That's why I named it the collective because I couldn't come up with a better name other than my freaking initials and then just putting it this. But really it's a group forum, right? You guys are always part of it. You can always come back and do this. Again, you can hop in for a short time or a long time. There's still alumni that still hop on the group calls almost every single week, right? Cough, cough, Leslie and Christina. But that's because they meet and they network with a lot of people and they bring in a lot of insight. So please continue to network outside of our one-on-ones and reach out to people, ask questions. It's always a safe space. There's no judgment here. You guys can tell me anything. I am very open with you guys about all of my failures and screw ups. And now this week, learning that I'm going to be a dad is like totally throwing a wrench into all of my plans. So I'm navigating stuff. We're flying the ship as we're going. So, hey, whatever you guys need to talk about, we're always here. So let's go into this. Typically, how the group calls will work, I'll just read through the questions, and if I think it pertains to someone, I'll kick it right to you. Again, you don't have to answer, you can just say pass, but this was a pretty good question that I really liked. So, as a business owner, how do you schedule your time so you accomplish the most during your day without getting distracted? Claire, I want to hear from you. How do you schedule your time?
Well, thank you. And by the way, Ronnie, this is my first week too. So we're in it together, and a lot of what you shared resonates with me. That's a tough question, Cam. Thanks for calling on me first. No, I do think that routine and structure, there's like an art and a science. And look, I don't know. I've just tinkered and had many failures myself currently as well in my personal life. But I think there's an art and a science to figuring out how to have enough like routine and rigidity to the structure of what your day is, and then enough flexibility so you don't go freaking crazy. So I think to your question, I think always like starting the day, I'm most productive in the morning. So definitely making sure that like I prioritize even like night before, what are the things that I want to get done even before like 9 a.m. Is that too like granular? Is that too specific? I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no. Keep
Okay.
going. Yeah.
But like things are crazy. It's life, right? I don't know. Like I guess look, I was always really hard on myself. And when the pandemic hit, we all had this like, what's going on moment, right? Like, what do I really love to do? Who am I? I heard a podcast from like the Oprah Super Soul podcast or something. And it was Elizabeth Gilbert on there. And she was like, some people are just hummingbirds. I guess I'm one. I do get easily like interested in things. I have an inquiring mind, which I love being here with you and Cam. Like I think this is why like I'm gonna love working with you. So I get distracted, much less to say. And so I think definitely having that routine and that structure is like really, really important because I like to give myself an opportunity to kind of like say, oh, this is happening. I didn't know there's a sound bath down the street in Bozeman. There's some weirdest stuff. So I don't know if that's a good answer to your question.
No, no, it's all good. I think we all have slightly different like tactical ways of how we like to do this, but generally how I think about it is like, okay, am I being reactive to the day or am I being proactive? Right? Which one would you consider yourself to be right now?
I try to be proactive. Try, I think is the operative word. But I again like having the structure and saying, obviously, if you're starting something new, I think you don't know like what are the main things that are going to come at me that I need to get out of the way before I need to react. But to try to be proactive and saying, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I'll just speak from my business. I used to have, 6 fitness studios. So I had like 62 staff. Like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to schedule all my one-on-one check-ins with the managers at each of the studios, for instance. And Tuesday, Thursdays, I'm going to make sure that all the studios have that same operational processes in terms of like, how do we check in clients? That's like, I guess what I mean by routine. Like I know otherwise like those things are going to get away from me. Because like a fire alarm is going to go off at one of the buildings, literally.
That's life. Yeah, that makes sense. Ronnie, you have a super busy schedule too.
Yeah. So like I said, I work head of comms for an ad agency, and it's definitely a startup mentality and feel. And I work fully remote, and I work East Coast hours. So I'm most productive in the mornings, really from 7 to noon, I would say. Yeah, like you said, Claire, I have to approach it proactively, or you'll just get eaten up by the day, right? So whether it's meetings, so my working hours are very isolated. So it's like boom, 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 one call after another, like hard to take, a bio break, like just to even get outside. So I build all of that in my schedule where I don't take any calls before 8. So I have these blocks on my calendar. So even just lunch for half an hour, it's there. Sometimes it gets booked, but at least it's there. And I manage a team of 8, and they're all time zones in the US, and then somebody in Scotland. So it's just a lot of tag teaming on time zones as well. And so I manage those people um, there too. So yeah, I've been with this company for 4 years, and Yeah, I think I've become a little numb to it, where I think once I finally leave, I'll realize like how absolutely chaotic and somewhat abusive it was. So, yeah, I'll be like, what just happened? So, I am conscious of that. But like you said, yeah, I basically just go in and have an agenda for the day, and I will work till about, this is going to sound for East Coasters. I work till about 2:30, 3 o'clock, then go to the gym, get my stuff done, take the dog out, go to the beach, and then I'll do dinner and then probably emails for an hour or so and catch up for anything that I missed, and then get ready for the next day. So that's kind of how my day's structured. That works so far.
Quick question for all of you guys. This is off the cuff, but how many of you guys plan your next day the night before? Just show of hands if you plan your next day the night before,
A
right?
little bit.
Okay. So Leslie, when you say a little bit, I know that I've taught you this, and I'm pretty sure I teach it to almost everybody at a different point, but it's like one of my favorite things to teach. Tell me how you plan your next day the night before.
Um, my day's kind of close to Ronnie's where I time block. Overall, my week, I'll maybe have some things that I want to get done that week, but I always have like my daily non-negotiables. And then with the remainder of my time, that's what I'm working on, the things that I want to get done that week. But it kind of gives me more flexibility of picking something that I'm focused and I want to work on instead of like, oh, I have to do this when I'm not really in the mindset to work on that. So
Mm.
that's what works for me. So I'll maybe look at it the night before, like, hey, I'll obviously have like these things I have to do, but then, okay, I'll probably work on this tomorrow. Sometimes tomorrow comes and I might work on that. Maybe I pick something else, but
Okay. So I'm gonna do this on a whiteboard. Maybe some of you have seen this before. Okay. But there's a certain reason, right? And if you want to shout out the word, but there's a certain reason why I try and convince everybody to do this the night before through one specific thing. So I will make 3 blocks on a piece of paper, right, like this. Okay. And let's say we start the day at 05, 06, right? 07, 08. If I start time blocking my day like this, what do you guys think this helps with throughout the rest of the day? Anybody? Come on.
Prioritizing.
Yeah, prioritizing, right? But what do you guys think goes up here? Right? The five to 10 things I want to do tomorrow, right? And in this column down here, it's the 5 to 10 things, okay, I do not want to do tomorrow, right? If that's scroll on social media, right? Smoke weed, drink alcohol, right? All these random little things that we kind of don't need reminders for, but like stay away from sugar, right? Or if any of these are things that you guys prefer, then do that. That's fine. Hey, no shame here. But if this is just like feel sorry for myself, if I'm taking this and I'm writing down these 5 things that I want to do, okay, we'll just say that we'll just call them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because we all have different things that we want to do. If I schedule these 5 things right here into the times that, okay, well, I know I have meetings, right? And then boom, then this is lunch, and then, okay, 1 or 2 more meetings. If I schedule these things in first, I can prioritize them in my day, which means for the next 6 to 8 hours as I'm sleeping, when I wake up, my decision fatigue is now much more open. And the fact that I don't have to decide what I'm going to do hour to hour to hour. This one little exercise has saved me so much time and has increased my productivity. It is crazy. I don't really need reminders here, right? I know that I'm not going to do that, but if I write it, now I'm like making a promise to myself. Now I'm keeping a word to myself. Hey, no scrolling, right? Nothing that's really going to deter us from being our best selves, right? I'm just not going to do that. I'm already saying no to it tomorrow. So if it does come up, I already know and I committed to saying no, right? But this is your moneymaker. What are the 5 things that you're going to do tomorrow? What time are you going to get them done? Guess what? now your brain knows you're going to get up at 5 and go for a 45-minute run. You're going to get 4 or 5 miles done first thing in the morning. Then I don't have to worry about going to the gym at 6 or 7 when I'm like, I really don't want to go work out right now, but I haven't gone to the gym yet today, right? Incorporate this into your schedule, adapt it how you best see fit. But I've been doing this for years and it saves me a lot of time. Make sense? Okay. Anyone else on scheduling their day and their time? Because that's super, super important. Lindsay, I want to hear from you.
Well, I think it's really important to, you said be proactive, right? I think it's really important not just to be proactive in business and scheduling out all your meetings, but being proactive in figuring out what recharges your energy and doing that before your day starts. Um, like for me, like I work at a place that does cold plunges and infrared saunas, and I like to cold plunge like right in the morning to start my day, to wake up. And I like to read for 20 minutes, write for 20 minutes. Honestly, taking just 20 minutes of like stillness or quiet time to just be present makes such a difference in the day. So I feel like I'm pretty type B and I don't really like to schedule it hour by hour because I feel like that almost puts me in a rush mindset of, oh my gosh, it's almost 11, I need to get this done. And then it, that gives me cortisol and it makes me like stressed out. So I don't do that. I'm more so, I'm starting to take baby steps. So like when I get home, I will kind of clean up like my feng shui and get my place good for the morning. So I don't have to worry about that when I wake up. And I know when I come home, like my place is, organized and clean and I have like a nice zen place to go to. And yeah, I just feel like I prioritize a lot of like water and supplements, and I'm just more so focused on like that type of uh, day type of schedule. I feel like I do better when I don't know what is going to happen in that day because I don't want to have like any expectations. Although, I think it's best to like flow in your schedule. So if you're working at this time, what can you do before, after, or even in that time that makes you feel more like attuned to your energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So feel free to share your socials if you guys have a business or you want to just connect with other people. Throw them into the chat while I'm kind of jumping in between questions here. Or if you have anything else to add and we're moving too quick, right? Add your 2 cents in there as well. Christina, I don't know if you got your mic working yet, but if you do, just give me a shout. Let's go. Oh, this is another good question. What are some tips for dealing with coworkers who are constantly negative or overly talkative? Who wants to take a stab at that one?
Yeah, I'll do that.
What you got?
Um, I would say try to be aware of how much energy you are putting towards them and how much energy they are taking up in your mind and how much you're really thinking about them. And when you are, I would say try to think in your mind, like just say 5 affirmations that make you feel more so in your power. Because I feel like when you have a strong sense of self and you know how you are, I think coworkers especially, you're not really going to have an emotional attachment, so it's a bit easier to detach and kind of just be like, okay, this is how that person is. Like I'm not going to be reactive because that's who they are and I accept that. Like why would I try to change them? Like misery loves company. So
Yeah. I just dump hot coffee on their lap and just go, oh, sorry. And then I just walk out of the room. No, I know what it's like working advertising. Ronnie, working advertising, whoever talks the most in a meeting typically thinks that it went the best, right? Talk to me about that, how you deal with people in the ad world and how you deal with overly chatty coworkers or just people that are inherently negative in that space.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like you can have like a TED talk just on that. I think yeah, so again, we're remote work environment, so you're not in the office, you're not in person, so it changes the dynamics of things. Where I find myself more reliant on my colleagues, on my team. So if something like if they're not successful, I'm not going to be successful. And it's like we're we have a thread, like we are attached in certain aspects of that. But there's a lot of obviously egos and personalities and characters and all the above on a daily basis of who I either interact with or report into. I think, yeah, like Lindsay, like you said, it's in terms of being more conscious of, first off, how I'm engaging with them. I know what will set them off. I know what triggers them. I know what will, like, just asking certain questions or getting them involved in certain projects. Like I have them in certain buckets and categories of when I know when to tap them or not. And I limit my, there was somebody on my team who, wanted to meet twice a week on individual one-to-ones to talk through, and I had to push back and do a more consolidated, like we're just going to meet once a week, but we're going to be super conscious and like have a very like surgical type of agenda, and like we're going to hit everything that's on their mind as well. So yeah, I mean, it's I also deal with, I feel like, I don't know, everybody, it's a very junior company too. So a lot of people are under 30 to like right out of university too, and they've never worked in a corporate environment or been in an office. So there's a lot of uh everybody's very emotional, I'll say, and I guess it's generational at this point too. And nobody gets any of my references at all. So that's fun. And so I have to school them on like, yeah, this is who En Vogue is, everybody. Come on. So, anyways, so yeah, it's like there's a lot going on. But yeah, so I guess, yeah, to put it again, it's like, yeah, very conscious of the energy that I'm putting towards people. I do give people, at least on my team, real-time feedback in terms of how they come off, but obviously it's all about delivery and all of that, which I need to work on still. And yeah, I don't know. It's managing up and it's managing down, so it's across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the team is as strong as its weakest link. So I I'm studio manager at my place. So I definitely am like taking on a new task of like managing people, and there obviously are a couple people that I wouldn't vibe with outside of work, but it's about like how do you adapt to them and make it where energetically you both can feel that you don't resonate, but how can we still make this work where you're still able to perform, we're able to help guide them perform better than they thought was possible.
I agree. Leslie, I want to hear from you and then Claire on this one. How do you deal with overly talkative or negative people at work?
I can jump in. So I recently transitioned from working at a marketing agency here in Bozeman, because for a little time there, before my TikTok was hacked 2 months ago, I was building a good little TikTok and had a really great opportunities with some great brands. It was just took me off on a whole different journey. So somehow I found myself, I don't have a background in marketing, but it was a wonderful experience because there's a local agency here and we do a lot of cool things in like Big Sky and skiing and outdoor stuff. But the owner, the CEO, the founder, she is on the younger side. I say this because she's younger than me, but she's very talented. Okay. She's really good at what she does. In my opinion, she didn't have a lot of experience like managing people, which I do know from my personal experience in like starting a business. No one really thinks about the staff part. Like you're just like, yes, I have this idea. And she brought a lot of negativity and would be like gossiping. So like I saw it firsthand, like trickle down from the top to these other, mostly women there. There was two guys. And then I saw them like mimicking that behavior. And, I don't think I'm like so old, but I was one of the older individuals working there. And, I was just, this is like high school stuff. So for me, it was actually really, really challenging because I really thought it was like being modeled from the top. And that's really, really difficult. There was like no middle management. It was like all of us and like her. So I actually like probably had one of the closest professional relationships with her. And I brought it up several times in a way that wasn't like, I think, confrontational with her. I got to admit, this is a limitation of mine. I look forward to working with you, Cam, about this. It's difficult for me to be direct. I think it's difficult for a lot of women to be direct. I mean, I think research shows us that, but I do know that's the case for me. And I kept kind of being like, what do you think it would be like if we kind of created an internal culture where, you know, we weren't really talking about other people? And what do you think? And it wasn't like, I couldn't be direct. It like wasn't getting through to her. So I can't say I figured this out, but I did. It's interesting. I did just see it firsthand. I now have transitioned to working remotely again. And I see there's some benefits to working remotely. It's also isolating, but also, as Ronnie was saying, it comes with some other challenges as well, because you can't really it's more difficult to call people out, or even understand what's happening in some of these dynamics. Because, like, you know, you don't just like seeing people and chatting and whatever every day. But I do think, like, if it's like senior level and it's so difficult to change that. It's like toxic. Yeah, I don't know if that's it. That's not an answer. I don't know if I figured it out.
We're always figuring it out, but there's
Yeah.
3 words I'm going to put into your head that everyone else
Okay.
here knows. It's boundaries, protocols, non-negotiables.
Okay.
The more that we work on those and cultivate those, and you clear your throat chakra and you can say this kind of stuff, the easier it is. I was at LAX this morning. I got there at like, I don't know, 4:03. Made it through the gate. I hate LAX. If you've ever been there, you know why. It's just a terrible place, in my opinion. I finally get through my gate after like 2 buses, whatever. And I pull out my laptop because I'm like, sweet, I have 45 minutes. I can work on some stuff. As soon as I open my computer and I like log in to start doing whatever, this guy comes up and I can smell him before he comes up to me. I can smell him and he's not wearing shoes. He's looking a little scraggly. He's like, hey man, do you know what time it is? And I was like, it's 0436. And I look back at my computer and he goes, do you know LAX pretty well? And I looked at him, I said, no. And I just went right back to my computer. I was like so direct, like so militaristic. And it wasn't because I was being a dick or because of his appearance, but it was just like I was locked in and then I immediately I started to feel bad. And I was like, no, dude, you're doing something. It's fine. You said the least amount of things forward. Don't feel bad. Just move on. Setting a boundary, having protocols, and developing non-negotiables doesn't mean that you need to be a dick or a bitch or anything. It just means you know what you want, you know what you're willing to tolerate, and there's no explanation needed. If you need to set a boundary with someone at work or in life, you can explain yourself one time and you can apologize one time. Anything more than that, you are homogenizing your apology. And now you're putting yourself, when you explain, you're putting yourself in a subservient position to be accepted to the other person, right? This person goes, hey, you did this wrong. And you go, yep, this is why I did it. This was my decision-making process, whatever, right? This person can either accept or reject your explanation, right? You're giving your power away. Why do we do that? 9 times out of 10, I think people don't need to explain themselves. I think the 1 time out of 10, yeah, you did fuck up. You should take accountability of that. Only explain yourself 1 time. Only apologize 1 time. That way it's authentic. They know that you mean it. And then you can either work together or move on. But setting a boundary, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, you can explain yourself 1 time, but do that in a rather non-emotional manner. Anytime that we set a boundary or enact a protocol, the less emotion that you do that with, the better that the outcome is going to be for you. I guarantee it. I've seen too many people nail this. And once it makes sense, which it will, because I'll beat this to death for you, you're going to do it and it's going to change your life. You're going to save yourself time, power, energy, and get what you want faster and understand that you're not going to get that thing. Instead of chasing that thing, you're like, well, I'm just going to let that go because this is in my control and that's the direction it will go. Make sense?
I have something to add.
Shoot, what you got?
So I agree with you with someone who talks a lot and you're trying to get work done and focus. I totally agree. Like, have your boundary, keep working on what you're working on, they'll get the point. But when it comes to a negative person, that can be a complete cancer to a team, to a company. I say they gotta go, like,
How do you broach
100%.
that conversation? So if someone's negative in the workplace, how do you tell someone or how do you tell them, hey man, you're being negative? You're destroying this team. How do you display that?
For me, I would just kind of come out and say it.
Yeah, good. Give us an example of when you've done that before.
I'm trying to think of what I said to him, but we hired the sales manager who I thought is either going to be really good or he's going to be the worst thing. And he turned out to be the worst thing for the company. And I was like, I told my senior manager, I was like, this guy's got to go. And he was like, no, no, just keep him. He's great. And I just kind of had a talk with him. I can't remember exactly what I said, but just basically like, this is what we do here. This is your job. This is what you need to do. And I don't know. It was just something, it was just very direct. But he ended up going to another club. He was transferred to another club and then he didn't show up there. So he just like never came back.
Dang. Well, the universe does work in mysterious ways, right? So maybe
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, Claire, I think that the question that you were asking her, almost like wanting to know how she thinks that peace would be able to be acquired in the workplace. I think that you need to answer that for yourself and then tell her, hey, this is how I want the environment to be. And I feel like these certain things are limiting it because we don't need to be spending our time talking about other things that aren't professional. We can do that after work, but when we're here, let's just focus on work. So then afterwards, we don't need to be like worried about it or anything. And I think also the only way I was able to, I'm still working on it, but be direct is realizing that when we're not direct, we're internalizing that. And that makes it more heavy for us. And it's almost like it got to a point where it was more harder to not be direct than it was to be direct. So I think eventually it's almost like, a ticking time bomb of, hey, this I'm like kind of impatient with this and it's on the tip of my tongue, but then when I say it, I say a bunch of people pleasing stuff after and then I feel bad. So I think it's kind of just about like baby steps of being direct with maybe with people who, you love, and you can do that with them so they know that it's coming from a loving place, so then you know how to say it with grace. And then the people that, you don't have that relationship with, it'll come off more like soft.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And I think even for this, it actually makes me think even more because this particular person, she's so resistant to like any sort of reflection that like she could be contributing to anything. And because there was such a power dynamic, like for other, this is actually related, but like literally I was like, I'm out of here. I can't. Because there was like no ability to be reflective, and the fact that she owns the whole damn thing, like, fuck this. But no, I probably should have done that. I love your suggestion. Really. I just took a note. So thank you.
It's really hard with people who they take everything you say as a personal attack, and it's like, just have a
Yeah.
little bit of an open mind and realize, hey, you're not perfect. Like,
Yeah.
do you think you're perfect? So I don't know if there's anyone that you could talk to that is maybe mutuals with her, that you trust, obviously.
It's
But
tough
I
because
think honestly, Claire, just put the intention out there. And I think just forget about the how and just put what you want and just work on yourself being direct and how, because when we're direct with people that we love, it can come across either way, but the people who know we have pure intentions, I think at the end of the day, it's also hard for people to accept that, hey, we do have pure intentions and we want like the best for ourselves and the company and for you. And you don't realize that you're actually hindering that. And if we could just have open communication, we can solve a lot just by simply talking. But a lot of the time, conversations now are such like a big deal to everyone. And it's like, I don't know, it was such a big deal. And it's like, dude, we can't just talk. It's just a conversation with two different viewpoints. It's not an argument.
Yeah,
So yeah.
appreciate that. I
Good.
really do.
Keep I'll send you guys what I'm thinking about in a second. But keep that dialogue, like make sure you guys connect offline, because I do want to get to some of these other questions because there's so many good ones tonight. Okay. So sorry to cut you guys off, but continue that dialogue because I really like where that's going. But I want you guys to get the most out of this. So admin card, I guess. Oh, what do you think? What do you think people misunderstood the most about you or your work or why you do it? So when it comes to your work, what you do, how people see that, what do you think people most misunderstand about you? Anybody? I'll go because this happened to me. Okay. I was at the airport the other day before I left. I sat down to get a meal. Just got a salad, beer, bacon, whatever. Same guy next to me goes, "Oh, that looks really good." He ordered the same thing. We get talking. He's an architect professor at Duke. And we talk. He's obviously super liberal school. He eventually asked me what I do. I said, "Oh, I'm a Green Beret." And we started talking about architecture. And I used to work at an architecture firm. And I'm throwing out like Brunelleschi and Frank Lloyd Wright and all these other things, talking about brutalism architecture in different cities because I've traveled around a bunch. And we hit it off. And we started talking about society's issues, everything else. It was a really beautiful conversation. But he goes, "After you told me you were Green Beret, I figured you were just this big Trump supporter, that you would have no liberal understanding of all this stuff." And he admitted to totally making judgments based upon what I told him as my profession. He ended up buying me dinner. He said, "Hey, would you mind if I bought you dinner?" I said, "Yes, but I need to trade you this," because he has family in the military. And I gave him a special forces patch. And I said, "Give that to your cousin or your nephew," whatever it was, right? And it was a beautiful conversation because it reminded me that, okay, just because I'm on this side and he works at a liberal arts school doesn't mean that we don't have things in common and can't sit here and share a meal together. And it was a beautiful experience. And I felt like, I was like, this is what we need more as a country. I was like, this feels good. Like, I don't care about his beliefs. And we had some chuckles, right? And we gently agreed to disagree on some things. And that was totally fine. It was amazing. What sort of misunderstandings do you guys feel like you have in the workplace, either with people or friends or family, about what it is that you do or what your job says more about you than you would say about yourself? It's a deep question. Who wants to go?
I'll try to answer. Initially, I think I'm generally kind at work in terms of like my delivery and my approach. So when it can be taken advantage of, whether it's in the workplace or in personal life. So it's kind of when somebody does take advantage, I think it surprises them when I do come back pretty snappy or harsh or have an opinion, and when that pushback does happen. So yeah, I think that is a misconception. I think a bit. I don't know. Generally speaking, that was the first thing that popped into my head.
That's good. I like that. Who else? Misconceptions about you or your work? Kind of a tough question. I know. I get it. Lynn's?
I mean, I don't really think that's any of our business. Like what people don't misunderstand about us, you know? Like
Yeah.
I think I worked at the same place that I do now, but I worked down in Orange County and I got let go of at that place. And this place, I got promoted. And I have the owner asking me, "What did you do there? Like why did you end like what was your position? Why did you end up leaving? Like I don't understand." And I was telling him like I it was a multitude of things, but at the end of the day, I think that when someone has their mind made up about you, they're almost like looking for confirmation bias, and your perception is already not going to be like correct or how you see yourself. So I think that who really cares how we're perceived as long as I feel like the majority of people that we know who we are, if that makes sense. Kind of lost track there, but
I completely agree. Completely agree.
yeah.
Who gives a fuck? There's a book called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. We've talked about it on the last couple group calls, but like you don't even need to read the whole book. You just need to understand that when something bad happens in your life or somebody's doing something bad to you, you can just literally let them, right? I like to just people have told me that I'm intense my whole life and I don't perceive myself to be intense, but if somebody crosses me and I know that they're crossing me and they know, I like to give them a good hard look into their soul, so that they know that I will have my vengeance, right? In this lifetime or the next. I don't need to do anything in that moment, but I like that knowledge where I will just look deep in their soul for like a few seconds longer and make sure that they look away after, because I will never forget that, right? So, but it's happened to me a bunch. I have my little black book that if God gives me the chance to take care of, I'll take care of it. But if not, I'll leave it to him. Um, but I think that you're right. People's perception of you doesn't fucking matter, Lindsay. It's good. So anybody else on that one? Claire, Leslie, Christina?
I don't know if this is what came to my mind, but so I've kind of like skewed away from what I started as like a career. I always thought I was going to be in academics. I started as, did I share this with you, Cam? A high school history teacher. Oh yeah, outside of Boston. And that was so hard. All the kids actually still have this program are bused from inner city Boston to like all the suburbs. So they gave us, first year teachers, like all these kids that had all these, really challenging home lives. And, I was like 22 years old. They thought I was 60. But I always wanted to go into academics, and I got my PhD. And then immediately I was like, I have this idea for a fitness studio. And ever since then, my life's gone off on a different trajectory. And I think for me, there's a lot of misconception because I've kind of gone into marketing and fund development, like trying to win money for nonprofits and for-profit businesses, that like, there's just a misconception that I either am not knowledgeable enough about something, which I'm not in many cases, because it's like, how'd you get here? There's a lot of that question I get, like, how'd you get here? You don't have a background in this. And a lot of it I just learned. To be honest, I wish I had not gotten the PhD. I wish I'd just forget that. It's a not wasted time. It was great. But like most of what I've learned has just been by doing it. So there's a lot of misconception about like how I got to where I am and why I am where I'm at. Just because I just so skewed a different direction. Or there's another misconception about me, which is you must know everything. And I love that. And Cam, I maybe shared this with you. I'm like, literally, I only know a lot about the very little bit I know, which is what a PhD is. Like you get so specific. So like, I think that's just what keeps me going anyways, is that I love to learn all new different things. And so I'm constantly kind of explaining that to people. To the point where like there was a while where I was just taking that off my resume. I mean, I don't know if that's good or whatever. It's really hard for me to do that because like then they would Google you and like, but to be honest with you, it didn't help. It has not helped me outside of academics in any way because of the misconception that like, oh, she's either going to think she knows it all or she doesn't have any experience in this. So it's kind of like double-edged sword.
I love that. I saw a meme one time, and it was like a boss asking an interviewee. He was like, "Can you explain this gap in your resume?" And he was like, "Actually, no, I can't. Jesus Christ had a 15-year gap in his resume, and he ended up doing amazing things. So you should hire me." And he was like, "You're hired." So again, owning it is cool, right? But really, really take this forward with you for everyone. Don't explain yourself to death, right? The more that you explain yourself, you are just giving someone else ammo. You're giving them more rope to hang you or to drag you or to tie you up with. Not everybody needs to know everything about you or your experience or what happened, right? Take that for what you will, as I'm an avoidant who's recovering, but like I have set in my previous life, I very much segmented who knows what about me. So there wasn't one person that was too much of a liability. Maybe I did that for some weird subconscious thing. I still kind of do that. But who I've been in my lives, whether it's in military or working in advertising or a skydive instructor or a tour guide in Europe or whatever the fuck, dog dad, Jeep dad, whatever, entrepreneur, a lot of different things, a lot of different friends and communities, CrossFit, skydiving, running, like all those people know different parts of me. Not everybody needs to know everything about you, especially, right, an employee, especially people at work who can feign, right? Ronnie, you can probably talk about this too, because people in advertising are very, very creative, but cunning at the same time. And there's a saying, there's an old Roman saying that's also fantastic. And it goes, you kiss my cheek just to finger my asshole. That's what they used to say to politicians, right? Hey, you're nice to my face, but I turn around, right? And you're screwing me, right? And that can be a deadly thing. Robert Greene talks about this in the 48 Laws of Power. I forget the chapter, but it's like never outshine the master and don't reveal too much about yourself. And that is a book that I would highly encourage you to read because those lessons from history repeat themselves all the time. Have you ever read that?
No,
Add it to your list. 48 Laws of Power. Ronnie, have you ever read that?
no.
Add it to your list. That book is one of the most profound books of all time, in my opinion.
I'm
Yeah.
in the middle of that book.
What do you think about it, Leslie?
Some of it I really like and I get, and then some of it it's kind of like it's nice to be aware of it, but I find hard connecting to some of the chapters.
Yeah. So a lot of history, a lot of words. That book is not necessarily going to be your favorite book, but if you read it 2 or 3 or 4 times over the course of, every couple of years or your career, it's going to allow you to understand the systems of manipulation that other humans place upon those closest to us at work in intimate relationships. It's not about necessarily teaching you how to manipulate other people. It's about teaching you how to recognize when you're potentially being manipulated and why and what to do about it, right? Or if you do
Mhm.
certain things, what the likely outcome will be. And that is, my dad made me read that at 18, and I was like, no. And then I read it like every 2 years after that for like 10 years. So I cite that book a lot. I talk about it a lot in my content, but holy cow, right? That book is fundamentally a very, very, very powerful book. Okay. So take with that for what you will. All that makes sense? Any questions there? All right. Because we got like time for 2 more questions, and there was 2 really good ones. Let's see. Oh, this is probably for the women, right? Ronnie, you can answer this too, because I have no idea how to answer this one. How do you practice feeling safe in your body? Who wants to take a stab at that?
That was my question. And I feel like how I practice feeling safe is cold plunges, tuning to my own energy, knowing that I'm safe no matter what's going on outside of me, saying my affirmations, but I need some more.
Yeah.
And I'll jump in and just be really open book. Like I'm right now also kind of going through like a really fresh off a breakup. And so my first thought, Cam, when you asked that question, or Lindsay, when that was your question, was I don't feel safe in my body right now. Just let me own that. I really don't. I actually do cold plunging. I do hammam, like between the sauna and the cold plunge. And there's a great place in Bozeman. And I've actually been going like every day. Usually I just do it 1 day a week for the last couple of years, but like I got to go every day. I'm a huge runner and always have been, but like I find now, I don't know, my nervous system is fried and I'm really sad. I haven't been able to run. I haven't been able to do the things I normally do. Cam, you're gonna help me with that. So I just am coming in here to tell you that I appreciate that question because even this house right now, like forget my body. I don't feel safe anywhere, but granted, this just happened. Okay. So I appreciate the question. I guess that's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
I think also be aware of what you're saying. You know, when you say I don't feel safe, tell yourself you feel safe 3 times more, you know? Because I think that I don't feel safe because I misjudged someone and they really, really took advantage of me and really hurt me. And now it's more so anyone that I come in contact with, even if intuitively I do feel they are pure, in my mind, I'm like, no, don't trust them. Like they're gonna change on you right when you let down your guard and fully let them in, then they're gonna like screw you over again. So I think it's just about trusting my discernment and I think it just takes time. And I think that the cold plunge and sauna every day, that's so good you're doing that. So good. You should try to envision in the cold plunge. After the first like 2.5 minutes, how you get numb, try to envision who you want to be and what you want, and it's it's magical.
I love that. This brings to my mind, you know, this is a really good time for me to get into some manifestation, but also I'm in a really low vibration. And Cam, you'd put out a video about like, you got to push the train out of the station. I don't know, there's something you said. And it stuck with me. And I'm like, push this fucking train out of the station, movement, actions before feelings. I'm working on it, but I love that. Like, that is something, because like, yeah, when you're in the cold water, I'm going to try that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh my God. I have a friend, she's just makes weird noises.
Yeah, because the cold plunge, you're showing yourself you're safe when your mind doesn't feel like you're safe, so it builds up your nervous system's capacity. Yeah, that's awesome. You're doing that.
And to add to that, well, I'm doing my first cold plunge on Sunday, by the way. So in the Bay. So on Sundays, I was taking my dog to this one beach and I saw this group, and they're always there at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. And a couple weeks ago, I went up to them and asked them, like, is this what's going on? So they do like, yo, it's like a whole thing. So found the group. So I'm gonna do it Sunday. But anyways,
Where's that? I'm in San Francisco.
oh, you are? It's
Yeah,
Chrissy Field, East Beach.
Chrissy Field East. Okay.
I'll send you the link. You can RSVP. There's a WhatsApp group.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, you should check out Sweat House in Daly City.
Oh, cool. Okay.
There's also a place that I just drove by. It's called Unity, and it's honestly, it's like a church, but for like spiritual people. And we talk about like manifesting and co-creating. And I
Nice.
haven't gone yet. I'm actually going on Sunday at like 11, but
Yeah.
I watched the sermon and I was like, whoa, I resonate so heavy with this. Like, that's so great that this is here.
No, thanks for
Yeah.
that. No, for sure. And Claire, like I was where you are probably 8, 9 months ago, like in my like process and all of that, and felt like out of my body in terms of just day to day, hour by hour, like totally get it. Yeah, it hurts. And I think I started getting more active and moving because what I was thinking is if I don't move, I'm in a I'm in a darker, deeper, like mental state. Even if you're out there for 15 minutes, like running or just walk, it's like, and I have a dog, so that makes me get out. So thank God. But yeah, so that's what I was like tapping into, and then it got better and better to a certain extent. Again,
Okay.
it's a long, long process. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, Claire, I was there literally 3 weeks ago. Like, it doesn't have to be that long, you know? Like, if you're doing this every day, I feel like you're going to see a difference, whether you mentally feel it. Your body is improving every day with what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, no, yeah, because you can get stuck in a spiral of hopelessness. So thank you.
Anybody else on that one? Christina, Leslie? No. Okay. Yeah, I also, I don't know. I guess like Jordan B. Peterson has a really great quote that says everyone should learn how to become an absolute monster and then control it. And I think that I took that advice like 20 years ago. So I consider myself very much a hippie and a peaceful person. I love talking about energy and all that stuff, but the ability for me to like produce violence is a switch that I am in control of on the wall. But I think that when I feel threatened, I will go to that switch and like will turn into the Hulk. And I don't like that. It hasn't happened to me for a long time, but like that kind of darkness that I've carried with me for a lot of years is like my preventative medicine for creating that safety if I feel threatened in a situation, which is probably not the healthiest coping method of all time, if I'm being honest. I'm trying to facilitate a better structure for that so I don't pass that on genetically, right? But we'll see. I think that you have to determine what safety is. And Lindsay was right. The more that you can tell yourself your safety, I am calm, I am this. On the plane today, I wrote 56 new affirmations because I no Wi-Fi on the plane about how I wanted my nervous system to feel going forward, right, in the next year. And the things that I wanted to do, the experience that I wanted to have. Tomorrow, I'll introduce that to you when we chat. But I teach you guys to basically cultivate these feelings of safety by, affirmations and incantations, the way that you talk to yourself, because when you talk, you're casting a spell. It's why they call it spell-ing, right? So we'll get into all of that, but we'll cultivate that sense for you. Okay. All right. And then we'll do one more question. There's a lot of good questions tonight, so we're running over with stuff. But I think that this one is, let's see. Well, there's two good questions, but I got to pick one. What are 3 steps in a morning routine that you couldn't live without? 3 things that you need to do in the morning that are for you. What are they?
I have 2, coffee and quiet time.
Love it. Love it. Linz, what you got? What are yours?
I don't have some consistently right now. I would say I'm trying to, I hate the word try, like you said. I'm getting better at not picking up my phone and doom scrolling when I wake up. I'll just snooze my alarm and then get up, or
Perfect.
stop my alarm. But I want more stuff that's more than like obviously brushing your teeth and getting dressed and getting ready. Like I I want to get back on my morning pages, which it's in the book The Artist Way. You basically write when you wake up, you fill 3 pages of just all of your thoughts or whatever you want. So then you're starting the day with a clearer head, and it really, really does work. You just got to do it consistently, and I have been lacking on that, but not anymore.
Good. I like it. Ronnie, what are your 3 things that you absolutely need to do in the morning for you?
Absolutely coffee. Like I'm 3 coffees by 9 a.m. type of situation. So coffee, what I've been trying to do runs in the morning now every other day with just music, and I put on a show, radio show. I listen to like BBC a lot, so there's a program like that happens like afternoon in their time, which is morning my time, so it's like perfect. So kind of just escape in that, and then I've been really trying to uh edit my news consumption. And so, yeah, it was an energy suck with the scrolling and all of that. And so I just signed up for like one publication that gives you like top 5 things to know, and that's it. And I leave it alone. And then, yeah, kind of move on.
Voila. I love it. Claire, what you got?
So coffee for sure. Probably like 2. I gotta go. So much coffee. Right now I sit in Bozeman. It's usually winter, okay? But right now I sit either in the front porch or the back porch because we got to take advantage of the next 10 weeks. That's it. And no, we usually have a pretty good fall too, but I I try to get sunlight on my eyes. Um, I'll do it in the winter too. I do have like one of those happy lights, but that for me I have found to be like a non-negotiable. Um, it gets really dark here in the winter, so like I said, I try to mimic it with the light. But right now, natural sunlight, those 2 things, I would think I'm interested in learning more of what I could build into a routine.
I think you guys should look into mushroom coffee
Mhm.
instead of normal coffee. And I know actually once you get past, I think it's 160 milligrams, or I think maybe that's not right. But once you get past a certain amount of caffeine, it actually has like detrimental effects. So mushroom coffee, I feel like it would activate your brain more, because it has all the lion's manes and cordyceps and all that good stuff.
Hold on, Lindsay. Am I still on mute? I'm sorry. I don't even know.
No,
No, you're not.
I'm basically in my kitchen. So,
Oh, I have those. I have that sleep blend.
is this what you're talking about? Because I just started taking this, and you guys, this is life changing. I don't understand it. It also has ashwagandha in it, but
I mean actual like coffee to drink, but that's really good too. Yeah.
okay, so it's probably not good to put this in my coffee because that's what I've been doing. So you're saying not the coffee, just the mushroom coffee.
capsules?
Got to be roasted like the way that they roast the
Yeah.
mushrooms and then they filter it. I put a link in the chat, right, for you guys to try that if you want. But Lindsay's right. Lion's Mane is fantastic. Christina, are you still on mute over there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What are your 3 things?
Getting outside, exercise, and grounding. So
I love it. That's good stuff. Which one if you have to pick one of those things, you can only do one, which one would you pick?
getting outside every day.
Agreed. Agreed. There's, I'm a quick end of our hour kind of plug, but I built a whole master course library, right? If you can log into the back end of the website, it's free for you guys. And there's a lot of business building tools, but I have all the other courses that I want to teach and write out. And one of them is going to be like a complete, like choose your own adventure morning routine stuff, because I've done so many different morning routines that I want to be able to give you guys all of the different crazy things I've seen or have done or I've seen other clients do. But there's a book, it's called the 5 a.m. Club, and they call it the 20-20-20 method. 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of light stretching or exercise, 20 minutes of journaling or reading, all before you pick up your phone, all before the sun comes up. And if I could pick one thing, it would be that 1 hour of the day, no phone, and you do those things for just 1 hour a day at 5 a.m. That is the number one thing that moved my life forward the most I've ever done. Now, if I just had to pick a simple thing, it's getting up before the sunrise. If I get up before the sunrise, I feel like I'm ahead, I'm winning, there's more creative energy for whatever reason, even if I'm tired. I get up, I love walking in the dark first thing in the morning. It's like, it's awesome, right? I feel inspired, and even if the sun's not up yet, or I look like shit because my eyes aren't open and I slept 4 hours, I still have really good ideas when I get up before the sunrise. I don't know what it is, but see how that changes your mind depending on your chronotype, if you're a night person or a morning person. But a couple good ideas there. The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. Add that book to your list. Okay. Yeah, quick hour. They went by fast. So feel free to connect with one another. If you guys want each other's information, you can ping me and I'll introduce you to another person. You can always just reach out on Discord if you guys have something that you want to just connect with someone else about, or see if anyone else has similar experience. Please continue to encourage and support and like and comment when other people do stuff, because I know it's hard reaching out to a group of a bunch of people you don't really know. But you guys are all experts in one thing, okay? I'm just bringing people together. I've always been that guy, that networker, and we all learn from each other. So thank you for your vulnerability. You guys are all making the right moves, doing the right thing. Just trust the process, believe in yourselves. Okay. RSVP to next week. If you need anything else from me, I'm sure I'll be talking to all of you guys soon, but I have a little bit of life to attend to at the moment. So I'm going to jump. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
See you later. Bye.